with Bicol South Party List Representative Terry Redon. He joins us on the show this morning. Magandang umaga po sa inyo, Congressman.
Ay, magandang umaga. Maraming salamat sa pag-imbita.
Una-una, ano ho ang reaksyon po ninyo dun sa sinabi po ni Brother Eddie dun sa isang JIL service? Wala ba talaga kayong ugnayan kay Bryce Hernandez? Sabi po niya, batchmates daw po kayo.
Alam mo, napag-usapan na natin yan. Doon pa lang doon sa naunang senador na nabanggit, no? Hindi ko siya ayoko na ulit-ulitin dahil parang talagang na paniwanag ko na yun noong umpisa pa. Wala kami kaugnayan ni Bryce Hernandez. And more importantly, hindi lang naman si Bryce Hernandez yung nag-uugnay kay Senator Joel, no? Dito po sa bagay na ito. In fact, si Henry Alcantara, yung boss ni Bryce Hernandez, ang kanyang sinabi ay nag-deliver siya ng 150 million sa rest house sa Ibulot Barangay, Bukawi, Bulacan, sa taon ni Senator Joel na Peng. No? So, I think yan yung mga kailangan sagutin. Sino si Peng? Sino may-ari ng rest house? Talaga ba na may 150 million na kickback galing sa unprogrammed appropriations ng flood control na ibinigay kay Senator Joel Villanueva? I think these are the more important issues, no, that Senator Joel will need to explain not just before the Blue Ribbon Committee, but also before the Independent Commission for Infrastructure and the NBI and the DOJ that are basically including him already in the charge sheet in the last couple of days.
In that list that you mentioned, it is notable that the Infracom probe is not part of the bodies that he will need to explain to. Is the probe really terminated in the House?
Well, it's currently suspended, no, to give way to the ICI proceedings, no. So, well, very proud naman po kami sa work ng Infracom kasi without the Infracom hearings, hindi ho talaga nailapag, no, yung pong bombshell testimonies ni Bryce Hernandez and JP Mendoza na talaga naman pong ginagamit ngayon ng Blue Ribbon Committee at I think ginagamit na rin po ng lahat ng investigative bodies dito po sa flood control scandal po na ito.
That's true, but isn't it also important to have the House participate in this for checks and balances purposes? Kasi nga po, yung Senate, mahirap naman po sa kanila imbestigahan yung kanilang sariling mga miyembro. Ganun din po sa House. Pero meron nga po itong mga senador na sumusulpot. Katulad na lang po na sinabi ni Senator Ping Lacson over the weekend that they found 100 billion worth of insertions by senators and individual insertions worth as much as 5 to 9 billion. Isn't that, something that the Infracom probe could play a role in?
Well, yun yung dahilan bakit ayaw na ho namin magpatuloy pa hanggat nandyan yung ICI. Kasi nga, we really wanted to remove all doubt na pagtatakpan ho namin yung mga kasamahan po namin sa Kongreso. So, we are leaving it basically to the ICI to make a determination on first, criminal liability sa mga members of Congress, whether Senate or House, no? At syempre, ano po yung mga ways forward para mapigilan na rin po ito pong flood control and infrastructure corruption happening again in the next couple of years. No? So, I think happy naman kami sa decision po namin dahil yung pong usapin po ng conflict of interest ay wala na pong burden sa House of Representatives.
But even then, if you take a look at the whole problem, it isn't just the lawmakers that play a part in this. Marami rin pong dapat imbestigahan pa katulad na lamang po nung mga departamento na sa NEP pa lang may insertions na daw nangyayari, yung role ng DBM doon. Pati na rin po yung role ng COA. Hindi po ba parang dapat din pong maisiwalat yung kanilang mga negligence or possible complicity in the systemic corruption?
Well, napag-usapan na yung COA sa House Infracom. No? So, may mga bahagi po doon na nahagip na po namin yung COA liability. Actually, yung pong innovation po ng ng Senate Blue Ribbon Committee, yung pong pagkakabanggit po ng mga executive-only interference, no? Dito po sa flood control corruption. Based po doon sa affidavit ni DPWH Undersecretary Berta Bernardo kung saan siya DepEd Undersecretary Trajib Olaybar ay nagtatransaction po on unprogrammed appropriations for a 15% kickback, no? So, ibig sabihin, ang involved po dito, hindi mga congressman, hindi senador, kundi executive-only officers po, no? Yung po ang pinag-uusapan po dito, supposedly for the office of the executive secretary, which, to be fair, the executive secretary flatly denied, no? Pero I think, actually, kahit ako, nagulat ako, na pwede pala yun. Kasi originally, parang ang understanding natin, senador sa congressman lang ho. Kadalasan po yung mga sangkot sa ganito pong mga bagay.
So ang DBM, meron din silang, kumbaga parang nasa kanila yung huling bola bago maipasa ito before it becomes HGAB.
Well, yan yung sa normal process, no, ng mga line item projects, activities and programs. Pero yung binabanggit po kasi in the affidavit of Undersecretary Bernardo, yung pong unprogrammed appropriations po yung ginamit nito po niya Undersecretary Olivar na talaga meron pong 15% kickback. Ibig sabihin, these are not line item appropriations. Ultimately, kahit sabihin po nila na meron pong DPWH proposals na inapprove under very strict conditions, the final say for the use of unprogrammed appropriations does not lie with the implementing agency. It lies with the Department of Budget and Management. So, I think a closer look is warranted for this. And talagang binabati mo natin Senator Lacson kasi siya ho yung nakahuli nitong bagay po na ito.
At meron din po siyang isang bringing up, no? Ito pong for later release. Could you help us understand ano po yung ibig sabihin nun? Yung po ba ay kapag meron lang excess na pondo?
Hindi naman. Yung for later release, ibig sabihin, ito yung pwede ho nga pagpasyahan po na executive na wag munang ipatupad. Kasi nga, ito po supposedly yung mga tingin po na executive na parang kulang po sa mga papeles, kulang sa pag-aaral, hindi pa siya shovel ready. No? So, yan po yung FLR. So, it doesn't have to be yung mga unprogrammed appropriations. So, I think there are even line items that are also deemed as for later release na executive.
Pero ito pong for later release ay na-budgetan na rin talaga?
Well, nasa line item po yan. It can be in the line item for the particular year's budget, no? Pero it can also be yung tinatawag nga po na unprogrammed appropriation. So, ibig sabihin, sa dulo, pagka pinagpasyahan po ng executive na hindi, wag na muna natin napondohan yan, wag na muna natin implement yan. Meron siyang actual pong kapangyarihan para po dito.
Pero yung unprogrammed appropriations, would you know who is the one who puts that in the budget? Sino po yung naglalagay? Lahat po ba yun dumadaan sa lahat ng branches?
So, yung unprogrammed appropriations po kasi, basically parang lump sum yun Pero meron pong mga particular conditionality as to paano yan ginagamit. So, kadalasan, yung pong unprogrammed appropriations, para yan talaga doon sa mga very particular emergency situations. So, for example, yung pong mga emergency budget para sa mga health workers po natin, yung pong mga emergency budget para sa panahon po ng sakuna. So, for example, rehabilitation, ng mga nasira po mga school buildings at iba pang mga infrastructure projects, dyan po kinakasa. So, sabihin, may mga requirements yun na may actual na additional revenue of government para po dito. Pero, actually, ang pinagtataka ko namin, even for new construction of infrastructure projects, like what we had seen in the last couple of years, pwede pa rin pala yung unprogrammed appropriation. So, I think, baka kailangan, at ito yung hindi ko nabanggit nung nakaraan when we suspended the probe, at binabanggit namin yan, dapat meron po talaga sigurong batas relating to unprogrammed appropriations na talagang ang kailangan lang po nga makagamit ng unprogrammed appropriations pagka meron talagang emergency in nature. Ito pong pagkakagastos na ito. Kasi for example, yung pong ibang mga na-release po na unprogrammed appropriation, new construction po yun So, there is nothing emergency about these things. No? So, bakit kailangan ikasa against unprogrammed appropriation? Tingin ko, pwede naman ho yan ikasa under po the normal budgeting process po ng gobyerno.
Pero itong unprogrammed appropriations is already written down in the NEP.
Tama po. So, nasa NEP na yan, nakalagay din po yan doon sa HCAB, pinag-usapan din po yan sa PECAMA Conference Committee. So, dinalatag po dyan kung gaano kalaki yung program appropriations at ano po yung mga conditionalities for use. No? So, yung problema nga ho natin, parang baka lang it's a bit too general. Even if you place specific conditionalities for the use, I think yung po kailangan masapul po ng gobyerno, dapat para lang talaga sa mga emergency appropriations, disaster-based appropriations lang po, ito pong paggamit ng unprogrammed appropriations.
Okay. When it comes to the reports that you are submitting to the ICI, kasama po ba doon itong BICAM report at small committee report? Dahil apart from the NEP being the source of insertions, ito yung dalawang pwede ring mapasukan at matagal nang hinahanap ng taong bayan. Ayan din po ba ay magiging part ng inyong submissions?
Hindi na pag-usapan with particularity kasi yung small committee at BICAM Conference Committee. No? Kasi syempre, yung Infracom talagang ang kanyang main concern ay yun po actual flood control corruption. So, ibig sabihin, yung mga Bulacan issues, Vizcaya issues, yun po yung mga laman po ng transcript. No? Pero, tama ho kayo, no? I think dapat suriin po. At I think kasama yan doon sa mga sinisiyasat din mismo ng ICI to give particular context. But I'd like to be very clear. Yung pong hinahanap ng small committee report, sa totoo lang, yan na po yung HGAB. I think there is no other small committee report that we have to be looking for. No? And secondly, yung pong BICAM report, I think yan po yung dapat din pong mahanap. Kasi ako hindi ko talaga alam kung ano yung... Kasi may binabanggit siya Senator Ping, di ba? Na I think he has a list of insertions that had been made in the BICAM by senators and congressmen. No? So, I think dapat may sama din po yan sa listahan. Pero I'm not quite certain kung yan na ba yung BICAM report kasi I think that includes yung mga actual proponents po of the insertions.
When it comes to the Commission on Audit, Senator Sherwin Gatchalian has said na hindi sila dapat palagpasin dito dahil yun nga, kung hindi umano nito nakita yung mga red flags kasunod ng mga ghost or substandard projects, dapat din silang ma-question. Don't you believe in the same thing that the COA should be looked into here? Dahil if you take a look at the hearings, madalas po ang nakasentro dito DPWH lamang at yung ating mga lawmakers.
Hindi, wala tayong debate. Pero we have to be able to talk about the specific projects po kasi for example, yung pong 2025 ghost project ng SIMS saka ng Bulacan First District Engineering Office, ang binanggit po ng COA during our hearing ay nahagip po ito ng COA. So, ibig sabihin, hindi sila, sinasabi ng COA na hindi sila kasali dito po sa transaction po na ito. Pero, it's a particular project lang. Pero, for example, there's another Plaridel Bulacan Ghost project which is, I think, of a previous year. So, obviously, pagka na-ghost project yun, dumaan na sa COA post-audit yun. So, yung bagay po na yun, I don't think pwede makalusot po yung COA doon. Ito din, malamang kasabot sila kung may ghost project, tapos na yung fiscal year implementation po na yan. So, yun po, kailangan nung palalimin din po yung bagay niya.
And not to mention, there is a potential conflict of interest with Commissioner Mario Lipana, and no less than COA Chairperson Cordoba admitted that in the hearings. And with all of this, is there no chance that the Infracom probe may begin again?
Tingnan pa ho natin. Actually, yung takbo po ng ICI, no? Hindi naman ho kami nag-full termination. It was just a suspension to give way to the ICI. So, kumbaga, the committee subsists. No? It has not been terminated completely. So, maybe in the future, pwede pa rin ho tayo mag-reconvene. Particularly ho, pagka ho nag-wrap up po yung mga ginagawa na po ng ICI at meron pa ho tayong mga ibang mga usapin na hindi pa ho nahagip ng ICI itself.
O dahil yun nga sa pagbabago ng liderato ng House, parang bigla na lang nawala na po yung probe. Siyempre, it raises a lot of questions about how we can exact true accountability here, and also the public's fear that it may just be theatrics. Don't you think that there are things to be done here? What is the direction of the Infracom when it comes to actual reforms to the system?
Well, nabanggit na ho namin nung we had announced the suspension na yun una, yung binanggit ko na yung reforms relating to unprogrammed appropriations. Secondly, yung lagi na ho namin binabanggit from the very beginning, yung pong private sector inspections po over the course of project implementation. Ibig sabihin, dapat mag-engage talaga ng mga engineers bago binabayaran po yung mga contractors to make a determination kung tama ba halimbawa yung inspection teams ng DPWH. No? Para basically, yung po lahat ng mga pwedeng mga leakages nito pong corruption, substandard, saka ghost projects ay mapigilan po talaga natin. So I think malaki po yung magiging papel ng mga private sector engineers being part of all of these infrastructure projects. No? So, yan po, yung ilan sa mga I think dapat mailatag po natin. Secondly, and more importantly, yung sa usapin po na insertions. No? So, I think kailangan mo talaga natin na full and complete transparency on insertions. So, sabihin, if you want to make insertions in every step, in every phase of the budget, whether in the NEP, whether at the level of the House Appropriations Committee, Senate Finance Committee, dapat pangalanan ho natin yung mga sarili ho natin na kung sino yung congressista, sino yung proponent dito po sa bagay na ito. Kasi siyempre, kailangan natin panindigan na talagang para sa bayan po itong bagay na ito. Kung yung tulay na ito, kung yung flood control na ito, kung yung school building na ito ay para sa ating po mga kababayan, ilagay po natin yung pangalan po natin dito.
Will pieces of legislation be filed when it comes to those reforms? Paano po kaya ma-achieve yun?
Hindi, yung pong tatlong bagay na binanggit ko, kailangan po talaga ng legislation dyan. Kasi, kumbaga, hindi ko talaga pwedeng isuko lang eh. For example,
so magre-recommend na lang po.
Yung pong unappropriated, unprogrammed appropriations, no? Kumbaga, kailangan talaga na very specific prohibition sa mga non-emergency, non-disaster-related appropriations for the use of unprogrammed appropriations.
Okay. And speaking of the things that the House can do, isa po dito ay mapauwi si Congressman Zaldico. What is the House doing to ensure that he will be able to come back and answer? And also meron pong ethics complaint filed against him. One repercussion could be expulsion. Yun po ba ay napag-uusapan na sa House?
I think ngayon pong linggo yung pagsisimula po ng pagdinig po ng Ethics Committee laban sa Congressman ko. At I think ngayong araw din po yung araw po ng huling araw ng revocation ng kanya pong travel clearance. So I think ang expectation po ng House of Representatives ay narito na po at magpapakita na po sa Kongreso si Congressman Zaldico. So we'll see this week kung ano po yung mga gagawin po ng House leadership relating to him. But I'm quite certain na I think ang magiging lugsaran po ng bagay na ito ay sa Ethics Committee probe po na gagawin po ng House.
Kumbaga binibigyan lang po natin ng sapat na panahon na mag-respond itong si Congressman Ko.
Tama ho yun. So, ibig sabihin, meron kasi previous experience na ho doon sa pagpapauwi kay Congressman Arnie Teves. No? So, napatawan siya, I think, ng ilang mga previous to expulsion, merong mga naipataw sa kanya, I think, na mga penalties yung pong Ethics Committee. So, tignan pa ho natin kung mag-apply po ito kay Congressman Ko.
Congressman, bilang panghuli, si ICI Executive Director Hosaka said that live streaming will not be done for the investigation because they could mislead the public. At sabi po din niya, the Commission wants to maintain objectivity and earn public trust. Isn't that contrary to the goal? Kasi hindi po ba ito nga pong culture of secrecy that has allowed corruption to pervade for a long time will still be employed? Do you agree with the private investigation?
Well, kailangan natin mag-clarify, no? Yung pong commission po kasi I think para quasi-judicial supposedly yung kanyang function eh. So, similar to how the courts do it, no? So, hindi yan talaga fully public, no? Pero I think at ito yung ina-expect ko sana, kung hindi man sila mag-live stream, baka pwede yung public audience sa kanila pong proceedings, no? Kasi yung mga korte naman, ang totoo, pwede naman talaga yung mga tao doon eh, di ba? Kahit sa Supreme Court, pagka nag-oral argument, pagka may mga pagdinig, talaga naman pong may mga tao pa rin po doon nakakapanood. Pinapayagan. So, ibig sabihin, I can agree na siguro hindi nila kailangan mag-live stream, pero yung po nga public participation at the very least in having an audience there, baka pwede yung pag-aralan po nila. Kasi nga, if the idea of an ICC is for it to be a quasi-judicial entity, dapat meron siyang semblance din pa rin po ng public participation. So, kung parang korte yan, dapat pwede pa rin po manood yung mga tao sa korte. Di ba?
Oh, pero agree po ba kayo na live streaming could mislead the public?
Hindi naman. Sa totoo lang, sa dulo, kailangan mo talagang, ang dulo naman mo magpapalit sa bagay na yung publiko eh. Di ba? Kung sino yung, sino yung dapat, tingin nilang dapat managot, ano ba yung dapat gawin ng gobyerno, no? So, bayaan natin silang gawin mo yung trabaho nila. Pero tingin ko, hindi din tama yung binanggit nila na live streaming might mislead kasi that might also refer to how Congress and the Senate actually does its work, no? Which basically live streams much of its events and proceedings, hindi ba?
And it is the public's trust that needs to be regained here. And I don't know how a private hearing could do that, but we hope for justice as we have been fighting for. Para po kasing teleserye na wala nang susunod na episode.
Then, meron pa yan. Tingin ko naman, I think, you've been seeing unraveling naman over the course of the week. So, siyempre, our expectation is we actually get to be able to go to the bottom of all of these things, no? So, yung most recent po talaga update is something that's really interesting. Ito pong executive-only interference into the budget.
Well, aasahan po namin kayo sa House na hindi niyo po bibitawan ang bola sa issue na ito. In the meantime, maraming salamat po for joining us and answering our questions here on this show. Thank you for your time. We have Bicol South Party's Representative Terry Ridon.
Maraming salamat. Good umaga.